This afternoon, two teams moving in opposite directions collide in the Big East game of the week. Rutgers comes in riding a 3-game winning streak. USF is hoping to avoid a third consecutive loss. It's Rutgers in South Florida next. This afternoon, the fans are starting to flock inside Raymond James Stadium as the Bulls of South Florida try to right the ship with a victory over the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. And as we get another week deeper into this Big East season, Cincinnati now sitting on top at 4-1 thanks to the win over Louisville last night. Pitt and West Virginia idle today, and Rutgers, they have to win out if they want to finish 7-5 and go bowling. Hi, everybody. Along with the former Pitt quarterback John Congemi, I'm Mike Gleason. As always, great to have you with us for the Big East game of the week. John, if there's one constant in football, no matter how old you are, kids are taught don't quit. Well, you know, this Rutgers team, after starting 1-5, they might be the true definition of perseverance.
Well, I think so, and I think you have to look at their leader, their head coach, Greg Schiano. He's done a great job of keeping this team together and putting them in position to win tough games at home. A couple weeks ago against Connecticut, they did a great job of following their young sophomore running back, Cordell Young, and then at Pittsburgh, it was the Mike Teel show. It was bombs away, 6 touchdown passes, a school record, and Kenny Britt had a career-best 3-touchdown game in a blowout of the Panthers. And then last week, at home against Syracuse, it was a typically slow start, but Tyquan Underwood was the guy. The forgotten man gets back in the game. Teel hit 8 different receivers, so this is a team that's catching fire right now. They believe in themselves. They have very high confidence in their abilities, and they can win out and go to a great bowl game, so they feel good right now.
And if you read the headlines, you'll see that USF, they've dropped 3 of 4, 2 straight, but if they can regain their focus, they could have a 10-win season.
Well, a little bit of a roller coaster ride for the Bulls as well. They've done a good job of gathering themselves. After a 5-0 start, they had a little difficulty losing, games at home, games on the road, but it's Matt Grothy that has to be the constant for the Bulls. If they're going to win today in a tough environment at home, they're going to have to depend on number 8. He cannot turn the football over versus the pressure that Rutgers defense is going to give him on 1st and 2nd down, so he'll have to play his best today.
Well, John, here come the Bulls. They still lead the Big East in total offense at 418 yards a game. Coming up at halftime today, Congemi's corner, another Big East star, George Selvey, the defensive end, stops by to chat, and Quinn Kesnick will test some of the IQ of these Bulls fans here in Tampa, and we'll hear from Brian Kelly, the head coach of Cincinnati, after their win over Louisville last night. Today's Big East game is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy? Champion. It's how you play. Ranger. See it up close at your local Polaris Ranger dealer. Tradewinds Beach Resort, the official beach resort of the St. Petersburg Bowl. And by Outback Steakhouse. Crave on. And the Bulls are back home in Raymond James Stadium, along with John Congemi, Quinn Kesnick, Mike Gleason here. Expected cloudy skies, about a 30% chance of rain. The skies, or the clouds have parted. We have beautiful blue skies here in Tampa. Right now, let's go downstairs with the third member of our broadcast team, Quinn Kesnick.
Mike, the heat in Tampa this time of year, always a big storyline. After some morning rain, we are under a gorgeous blue sky, getting baked. It's hot, it's humid down here on this playing surface. Now, with the heat in mind, Rutgers this week, Greg Schiano actually practiced indoor in their bubble facility. He turned the heat up to 85 degrees to try to simulate what his players will see today. And if you look around the sideline, they've got mist makers, they've got tons of ice, they've got giant air conditioners trying to recreate Arctic conditions here on the Rutgers sideline. Meanwhile, for South Florida, they're oblivious to the heat. George Selvey telling me moments ago, turn it up. Turn up the heat. The hotter, the better. Mike?
Well, Quint, it's good to see you have your towel strapped over your shoulder. My
Quint look good down there, Mike.
Steam up a little bit. And you take a look at the weather once again. 75 degrees expected. It might be a little bit warmer than that right now. Expected cloudy skies, but as Quint said, the clouds have parted. Sunny blue skies right now. Humidity 94%. What about a potential Pontiac game-changing performer?
Well, the guy on the edge, George Selvey, he's the guy that can make things happen defensively for the Bulls. 11 tackles for loss, 5 sacks. I mean, the guy is just active, and he's going to move around that line of scrimmage and make it difficult for the offensive linemen and running backs to really key on where he's going to be today, Mike.
And as far as where he is, later in the broadcast, we want to talk about how many times they actually run away from this young man. It'll be interesting to see if George Selvey is playing here next year. Goes on to the National Football League. He says he hasn't made up his decision yet. Rutgers has won the toss. They've deferred, so they will kick off. Teddy Delagana with the kick, and this football game is underway. It's a low kick. Goes out of bounds. Torres Johnson was there to receive it. And there's the first penalty flag dropped on the play.
Yeah, not a good start for Rutgers.
The ball will be placed on the 40-yard line. First down.
We just heard it. The Bulls will open up this game with good field position on the 40-yard line.
And that's exactly what Greg Schiano doesn't want to do for the offense that's led by Matt Grothe.
That's the first time that Teddy Delagana has kicked it out of bounds this year. Matt Grothe, probably the top quarterback maybe in the Big East.
Yeah, look for him to run the football as well against this pressure today. Matt Grothe is going to have to throw the football and protect it, but use his legs possibly to win this game.
First play from scrimmage for the Bulls, trying to snap a two-game skid. Grothe from the pocket going right down the middle, and it's incomplete. Looking for Jesse Hester, who leads the team with 37 catches. Penalty flag dropped. Ryan D'Imperio on the coverage that time.
Boy, nice job by Matt Grothe going up against that matchup. He had his wide receiver on a linebacker going down the seam, down the middle of the field.
That's interference. 29 defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, the penalty goes against Desire Kitchen, who's coming off a big game, as we take another look at it.
If Grothe can throw this football a little bit farther, it might be 6 points because it's the matchup that he wanted. He had his wide receiver, Jesse Hester, is in the slot that time against a linebacker. Just a tad underthrown, but a good decision by Grothe.
Now Grothe out of the shotgun, already in Rutgers territory at the 45-yard line. Grothe with the keep inside the 40. Ryan D'Imperio on the coverage once again. Let's check the starting lineups, brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. And for the backs and receivers for the Bulls, you won't see a lot of tight end, John. So 4 wideouts. Jesse Hester leading that parade with 37 catches this year. And up front, some shuffling because of injuries on the offensive line. But Matt Huners, he is graded out at 90% this year. And, John, you can't get much better than that.
That's pretty good.
Third play now. Again, second pass play. But again, Grothe using his legs inside the 30. Inside the 20, knocked out at about the 16-yard line. Courtney Green finally drove him out, but not before he picked up 22.
Mike, we talked about it in the open, about using Grothe's legs possibly to win this game, and that's what he's going to do. Anytime you feel pressure, the pocket's going to break down. He has great sense of timing of when to get out of the pocket and use his ability on the edge, and especially inside the 20-yard line in the red zone, he can make plays with his legs.
See his numbers there, 3 rushing touchdowns. Grothe with approaching 10,000 yards of total offense now. And they keep it on the ground. Ben Williams, another penalty flag down.
McCourty.
Eagle block below the waist. 5 on the offense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Referee Tom Tomczak from the Big East officiating crew. You take a look at the defense up front. Jamal Westerman, 4.5 sacks since conference play began. He leads the Big East in conference play. He has 6 sacks on the year. And the linebackers very active. Malice and D'Imperio 1-2 in tackles. Malice with 71. D'Imperio with 66 coming in. And in that secondary, Courtney Green, 361 tackles. He has started every game since arriving in Piscataway. This is his 48th consecutive start. First and 25. That's Hester in motion. Looks right, comes back left. It's complete. That ball is on the ground, and Rutgers comes up. If it's a completed ball, they come up with the first turnover of the afternoon. Yes, they do, as Pete Taverda, big number 97, the senior, comes up after the fumble.
Mike, they may take a look at this. I'm not sure if the receiver had a catch on the far side. It was one of those inside receiver screens. I'm not sure if the receiver had control of that football. We're going to take another look. Grothy's going to look right at first and then come back to the short side of the field. Looked like he was going to A.J. Love.
Ruling on the field is under review.
And it is under review. He may have tucked that football. That's a tough call, even with the review here. Grothy trying to get the ball, but watch A.J. Love go up and try to catch the football. Looks like he has possession of it and control, and the strip there by 44, D'Imperio, the linebacker. I think that may stand. He bobbles it there, but then he has control underneath the right arm. And then it's punched out, by Kevin Malice.
So they're upstairs. Noel Turner, the replay official, taking a look at it up in the booth. And ironically, Terry McCauley, the head of the Big East officiating crew, was up in the booth.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The ball was knocked out of the player's hands, causing the fumble. First down.
So A.J. Love coughs it up, and Rutgers comes up with the big turnover. They came in at -8, John, but they've improved in that category.
Yeah, they've done a good job of creating turnovers, but watch another look by Love. It looks like he takes the football and tucks it under his right arm in a running motion or a football position, and then he gets the ball stripped, so that's a good call by the official.
So Mike Teel and company now with their first possession after the turnover. Like Grothy, Teel comes out throwing. This one complete to Britt. Britt goes over the 40-yard line, dropped at about the 42. Shot made by Carlton Williams. Gain of 11 that time. So Mike Teel, 59%, John, but in this winning streak, he's at about 65%.
He's done such a nice job of bouncing back from a slow start. Threw a lot of interceptions early, but now has caught fire. And as he goes, this team has really gained their confidence offensively, and it's carried over because the defense has played pretty well all year. The offense has picked it up.
You saw those passing yards. Now he's over 2,000. He came in 71 yards behind Matt Grothy as far as passing yardage in the Big East. The movement down front, no penalty flag. There's the flag as Young gets it. He is dropped by big number 95, George Selvey. But he's the one that might have jumped as he anticipated that snap.
Offside. 95 defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, let's check the starting lineups. Brought to you by Outback Steakhouse for the Scarlet Knights. You see Kenny Britt, number 1 in yards per catch. Number 1 in receiving yards in the Big East. And up front, well, you see big Anthony Davis there. He said that George Selvey's pretty good, but I'm pretty good too. And he was a freshman All-American, so today should be a fun afternoon when he's on number 95.
Great matchup as he is now, the bottom of the screen right here.
Keep it on the ground. It's Britt trying to turn the corner. He's over the midfield stripe and finally run out of bounds. Louis Gachette. Let's look at the Bulls now defensively. Up front, of course, the spotlight is on Selvey, but on the other side, it's Bowie. He's been active with 3 sacks in his last 3 games for USF. And the linebackers, Tyrone McKenzie, John, could be one of the most underrated linebackers in all of America. And in the secondary, Jerome Murphy is the only kid on the roster from New Jersey. He's got 2 picks, 51 tackles. His teammates say he plays with that Jersey attitude.
Not a bad spot for play action and maybe take a chance down the field.
2nd and 1, Teel. Looking, firing, and he overshoots his man. He looks for Kevin Brock, the big tight end that time. Brock came in with 22 catches, actually lost his starting job to Shamar Graves. But Greg Schiano wanted more productivity out of that tight end spot.
He's a good blocker, good solid tight end for Greg Schiano and the Rutgers offense. But coming into the season, they didn't know what to expect from that position, but they've got 22 receptions out of Brock on the season. So the big play guy's been on the outside in Kenny Britt.
Trip receivers, and this one's complete to Underwood. And he's got enough for the first down as he approaches the 45. A gain of 4 on the play. Carlton Williams on the stop. And Underwood, I think you hit the nail on the top of the head at the top of the broadcast. This guy was the forgotten man.
He really was. You know, not a lot of receptions. You can tell the difference between Kenny Britt coming into the game with 60 receptions and Taekwon Underwood only with 25, and he's the second leading receiver for Rutgers. So a big separation there, but he's starting to come on, and Mike Teel, as he's gotten better, has been looking off to Underwood.
Underwood, 25 catches this year, as you mentioned, 1,100 yards last year, 13 touchdowns. Cordell Young hits the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of 1. Keon Wilson, the middle linebacker, making the stop for the USF Bulls.
And this is a Bulls defense, Mike, that is without Bruce Montpierre in the middle. He had that neck injury, back injury, way back when against FIU. Tried it again, came back and played a game and a half, and is helping out on the sidelines now with defensive coordinator Wally Burnham. But this is a team that really, linebacker-wise, very youthful. So the defensive backs, you look for Carlton Williams today to help out Wally Burnham's defense coming down from that safety spot.
Out of the gun, 2nd and 9. Teel, he's going down. Terrell McClain, they call him the dancing bear because he's so light on his feet.
Yeah, the big teddy bear coming in. McClain does a good job on the game, a little twist up front. And he's going to play right off it. Nice job. Watch him come out and loop outside. Teel never sees him until the last minute. That's a nice job by the defensive front 7 for the Bulls, and a good call by Wally Burnham, their defensive coordinator, getting that teddy bear in the backfield.
Loss of 9 on the play. So now 3rd and 18 for the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Wally Burnham telling us the last time we broadcasted here that McClain's got to get tougher. Well, he's been playing some pretty tough football as of late. Teel fires, and he thought about running, but it was 3rd and 18. He throws it down on the turf, and it's going to be a kicking situation.
Nice defensive stand by the Bulls that time. They give up a scoring opportunity offensively, and then Jim Levitt gets those guys to come out and play hard. This is their best week of practice. Wally Burnham said Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, this defense played terrific. They had to pull guys out of scrimmages and out of practice because it was getting so physical, and it showed up today, Saturday, early.
Here's Teddy Delagana. He's dropped 16 punts inside the 20-yard line. Only 3 touchbacks all season. He'll be kicking at about the 38. Fair catch called for at the 18-yard line. 34-yard punt by Delagana. When we come back, we'll see Matt Grothe as he approaches more records here at USF. The junior quarterback taking the field with the Bulls right after this. Welcome back to Tampa. Outside looking into Raymond James Stadium. Home of the Bulls. Tampa Bay Bucks have the Vikings here tomorrow. Today's 1st and 10 line is brought to you by Overstock.com. And the Bulls of USF, starting from the 18-yard line, their 2nd possession of the ball game. They moved deep into Rutgers territory, but coughed up the football on their 1st possession. Grothe swings it out. This one's complete. Marcus Edwards with the catch, a gain of 8 that time. And Damaso Munoz on the coverage. Clint, let's go down.
Mike, I spoke to Matt Grothe during warm-ups prior to this game, and I asked him about the Cincinnati loss 16 days ago. He said he tried too hard in that game. His focus today is just take care of the ball and be patient. Take what this Rutgers defense gives him.
Yeah, John, on that note, of course, you look at Grothe 2 years ago, 15 touchdowns, 14 picks. Last year, 14 picks. Greg Gregory never minded the interceptions, huh?
Well, no, he's been making pretty good decisions. I think he's been the culprit of drop passes lately and a couple bouncing off of helmets and shoulder pads. And the good thing you like about the relationship that Matt Grothe has with his offensive coordinator, Greg Gregory, is they both have the same personality. So you don't know if he's thrown 10 touchdowns in a row or 10 interceptions in a row. They're going to stay at it and keep at it, and that's the way you have to be.
Last tackle by Pete Tagurdoff. He's got 12 straight games now with a tackle for a loss. This one's complete. Over the middle to A.J. Love. No, Jesse Hester, excuse me. Ryan D'Imperio on the coverage for Rutgers. Hester now with 38 catches.
So far, Mike, Rutgers has really been very vanilla on defense. USF in their first series started on their own 40-yard line with the kick going out of bounds, so now they're going to have to work a little bit harder to get in scoring position, but so far, not a lot of pressure from this Rutgers defense.
Mentioned Grothe approaching 10,000 yards, came in with 91.53 of total offense, only a junior, 43 career touchdown passes. Scott McKillop, the middle linebacker for Pittsburgh, said he's the most underrated quarterback in America. They keep it on the ground. And Jason McCourty comes up from his cornerback spot to make the stop. Gain of 2 that time as Mo Blanchard starting running back to open up this 2008 season for Jim Leavitt.
Well, Mike, if you're the Bulls, you'd like to win on 1st and 2nd down because that's when Rutgers is going to turn up the heat. Right now, 2nd down, not a good situation for the Bulls.
Double twins on the field right now for the Bulls and Matt Grothe. Grothe, quarterback draw out of the shotgun. He was up over the 40-yard line, then retraced his tracks, and Jason McCourty stops him. A gain of 6 that time for Grothe.
Matt Grothe's very slippery when he's running the football in between the tackles. Seems like he never really takes on a good hit, and that's a good thing for a quarterback. You're going to watch him take it up the middle and then reverse and cut back to the right side, and you never really get a good shot on Matt Grothe.
Yeah, Greg Schiano saying it's really not the option like we'll see against Army next week, but it is an option of a different name.
Yeah, it's a pace of an offense as well because they can turn up the pace when they want to, and that's what Greg Schiano saw on 3rd down. He didn't like the defense that he called against the offensive set, so he ends up calling the timeout.
So Greg Schiano saying that if we don't keep Mr. Grothe boxed in, we're going to be in trouble. And let's take a look right now at the Big East standings brought to you by Tradewinds Beach Resort. And you see Cincinnati at 4-1 after their big win over Louisville last night. Pittsburgh, West Virginia, idle today. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh next week from Cincinnati.
What a gutsy performance by Cincinnati on the road. Tough environment, tough night to play football, and they use multiple quarterbacks again in Tony Pike and Grutza to get it done on the road. Just a great job by Brian Kelly getting his guys ready to play again, and they have that big matchup, as you said, Mike, next week now at home against the Panthers.
And Brian Kelly expected to call in during this broadcast, and he's a man of his word. I'm sure he'll be calling in before long here in Tampa. Another 3rd down situation for Grothe and company. 44% on the year. They're number 1 in this department. This one's complete. Boy, a nice route. You saw the marker, and it's complete to Johnson, and he got just enough, unless he ran out of bounds, just a couple of inches shy.
That was a good job by Torres Johnson, knowing where he was on the field. He had to go about 4 or 5 yards on that quick stop route, and he never gave ground. He let the ball get to him, and Grothe had a strong enough arm to get it out there for the 1st down.
And he got just enough. They moved the chains down. No huddle with the Bulls. 1st and 10 from the 42. Not too much running room. As Antonio Lowry comes up from his linebacker spot, a backup linebacker to make the stop. You know, the first time we broadcasted a game here for the Syracuse game, we talked about how deep the running back core was for the Bulls, but they're really down to 3 because of injuries. Grothe looking and swings it out. This one's complete to Marcus Edwards again. He's inside Rutgers territory.
Nice pass protection that time by the Bulls up front. We talked about some of the changes they've made up front. They moved Mark Dial from right tackle to left tackle, and they've moved Ryan Schmidt inside where he's better in between players, but they've done a nice job protecting Matt Grothe in the pass game today early in this game. They've done a nice job of holding the line of scrimmage. What they want to do is improve on that running attack a little bit against a tough front 7 of Rutgers.
Well, as they continue to move the chains, they're going to bring the chains out on the field for a measurement. Now, Cedric Hill, their big tight end, he came in with 14 catches, but he had a 19-game streak snapped against Cincinnati, but the coaching staff saying we're not going to see a lot of tight end because they're going to be throwing the ball a lot.
Yeah, they want to spread it out against head coach Greg Schiano and his defense, and so far they've done a nice job of spreading it around. Matt Grothe 5 of 5 against Greg Schiano's defense, and he's hit 5 different receivers. So this is the time normally when you cross the 50-yard line, Greg Schiano's going to look on his list, his diabolical defensive dial-ups here, and try to get something to cause Grothe to throw a football to a white jersey.
Grothe out of the gun. Now 1st and 2nd down, that's when we expect to see most of the pressure.
Absolutely.
Grothe hasn't felt a lot of pressure, goes downfield and overshoots his man looking for Patrick Richardson that time. And Richardson out of bounds, overshot by maybe a foot. And it's 2nd and 10 for the Bulls.
David Rowe on the play. Nice defense They call that a smash route, where the outside guy is going to run 5 yards and stop, and the inside guy in the slot's going to run a corner route. Grothe just overshot him, but great coverage.
Grothe had some running room, but it closed in a hurry. Got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe picked up a yard. Ryan D'Imperio making the stop once again. D'Imperio, 66 tackles coming in. Remember, 2 years ago, broke his leg 3 places, came back last year. Probably too early, Greg Schiano said, but he's back at 100% now for the Scarlet Knights, who we said all season long, defensively, they've been strong. It was offensively they struggled.
And the Bulls trying to pick up the pace of their offense here, getting on the line very quickly on 3rd down.
Again, 44% on the year, 3rd and 9 this time from 47. Grothe's going down that time, and against number 44, Ryan D'Imperio. That's his second sack this year, 2.5. It's going to bring up a punting situation for the Bulls. A loss of 4 on the play.
The Bulls going to the well one time too many. They're going to roll out to the left, and you can see the linebacker D'Imperio right here. He's going to fill that gap that's left by when the tailback Benjamin Williams goes out to kick out. D'Imperio just fills that gap and does it nicely.
Delbert Alvarado will be punting at about the 33-yard line. And the deep man, that's Dennis Campbell, number 5. He's standing at about the 16-yard line. And Dennis Campbell comes up and rolls over the 25 out to about the 27. A 28-yard punt that time by Alvarado. And a penalty flag down on the field. As Tom Tomczak, the referee, confers. So we wait for the call. The sunny skies, but it did rain this morning.
Legal motion on a punt team. 5 yards will be added to the end of the run. 1st down.
Well, regardless, a penalty for Jim Levitt. The Bulls are the most penalized team in the Big East Conference. When we come back, it'll be Rutgers football at about the 27-yard line here from Raymond James Stadium. And back in Tampa, Florida, this afternoon, the Bulls taking on the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, along with John Congemi and Quinn Kesnick. I'm Mike Gleason. Great to have you with us for the Big East game of the week. Rutgers, they've won 3 straight games, and the Bulls, of course, have lost 2 straight games. Rutgers really need to finish 7-5, and the Bulls, of course, if they regain their focus, can finish 10-3. Scoreless ball game. Rutgers football, today's 1st and 10 line, brought to you by Overstock.com. As Mike Teel comes into the game, 518 yards passing from becoming the #1 passer in Rutgers history. That's Tim Brown in motion at the top of your screen. Play action, looking for Timmy Brown, and this one's picked off. Carlton Williams, that's number 2 for him this year. And for Mike Teel, that's the 11th time he's thrown a pick.
Mike, you never throw this football in this situation only because it's a 2-man route. And Mike Teel didn't get what he wanted, and neither did offensive coordinator John McNulty in the beginning. It's only a 2-man route here. Everybody else is in pass pro. There's 9 guys in, and you're going to see Williams drop off underneath this route. There's nowhere to throw this football but up here in the stands. Mike Teel tries to fit it in there, but it was great coverage. He had high and low coverage on the one receiver to the wide side.
For a senior quarterback, how surprising is that? Especially he's been red hot.
Well, he has been hot, but he reverted back to some of the mistakes he's had early in this year, Mike, and that's a ball you're expecting a certain coverage coming out on 1st down. You don't get it, you either eat the football or throw it away, and that time Williams was the guy who was able to cut underneath the route, and I think that's what Greg Schiano's trying to say. Hey, let's just throw that one away, come back on 2nd down.
You look at Carlton Williams on the bench. You look at this USF defense, too. #1 in total defense, #1 against the rush. That's what makes this 1-3 Big East record so frustrating for this football team. Grothe out of the shotgun again, looking and finding his man inside the 40-yard line. And this one's complete to big Benjamin Williams, the 5'7", 200-pound running back. Gain of 8. Devin McCourty defensively on the play for Rutgers.
When we talked to offensive coordinator Greg Gregory yesterday, he said he's going to try to isolate his back, Benjamin Williams and Matt Grothe, just on a little option route to the short side of the field. That time, Williams came up, saw the linebacker, cut out, and it was an easy pitch and catch for Matt Grothe, who's 6 out of 7 so far this afternoon.
This is Grothy. Avoids the rush and looking for his running back, Ben Williams again. Penalty flag dropped at about the 35-yard line.
Yeah, it's going to be Mike. It's going to be defensive holding on George Johnson.
First down.
So Greg Schiano's club comes in with about 41 penalties. That's about middle of the pack in the Big East Conference.
And Mike, this is a situation again for South Florida. They have to get down and score points here. They were down here on the first series, and Greg Schiano's defense did a nice job of turning the football over. Now again inside the 30-yard line, the Bulls trying to get in the end zone on this possession.
Here's Grothy again. Trying to turn the corner, get inside the 25-yard line, finally run out at the 25 by Jason McCourty that time. Greg Gregory telling us, John, yesterday that it's no secret Grothy needs a good game, and he knows it. So what was he thinking about last night?
Well, you know what? You just want to go out and practice and bring from practice what you did this week into the game. He's had a good week of practice. This team has had a very good week of practice. You just hope as a head coach and as an offensive coordinator that everybody brings it to Saturday afternoon. So far, they've played pretty well.
Grothy from the shotgun this time, 2nd and 8. Starting to win that battle of field position. Good hit that time by Jason McCourty. That's Patrick Richardson. And he thought he had the 4th catch of the season, but McCourty says not this time, buddy.
Well, it's a young receiver, and you have to know the coverage before you go out there, and you'll save yourself a headache out on the edge by Jason McCourty. The corner was rolled up, and that receiver that time, Richardson, just should sit in the hole, catch it, and almost fall down, Mike.
So the Bulls open the season scoring at least 30 points in their first 3 games. The program first. They come in averaging 31. Grothy looking for Richardson again. Good defensive play right over the middle. That time Joe LaFeige coming up to break it up.
And again, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights on defense. They've done a nice job of really bowing their backs in the scoring position. It was a good job by South Florida spreading out Rutgers on defense, but they just make a better play defensively than the Bulls can come up with offensively. Good defense by 36. Courtney Green underneath, tipping the football away.
True freshman Mike Bonani. This will be a 42-yard kick, his long of 47 on the year. And Bonani, this one's no good. He had nailed his last 4. And the unsuccessful field goal will give the football back to the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. So we're still scoreless here in Raymond James. 3:27 to go in the first. .327 to go in the first quarter here inside Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Scoreless ball game, USF against Rutgers. Rutgers football now. As they dodge a bullet, Mike Bonani missing a 42-yard field goal. He had hit his last 4. Teel 2 for 5, 15 yards and a pick so far. Rutgers last 2 games, 925 yards. They keep this one on the ground. And Nate Allen finally coming up to make the stop. And Jordan Brooks, a gain of 9 that time for the Scarlet Knights.
Nice play on first down by the Scarlet Knights, coming right up the middle. Good blocking up front by that offensive line. And Shamar Graves, the tight end, did a great job of really sealing the inside and getting some running room in the middle of that Bulls defense.
And John, I beg your pardon, Joe Martinek, Greg Schiano saying we actually have 4 guys who could be the guy. But Cordell Young gets the starts, and Joe Martinek gets the carry that time. His first. He had a 45-yard touchdown on the direct snap in that win over Syracuse. Gain of 9 that time. Teel doesn't like what he sees defensively, and he wants to talk things over. That's the first time out. Rutgers actually down to 1. That's their second time out here in the first quarter.
Well, they'll talk it over on either sideline, and Jim Levitt's been very vocal and he normally is, but he wants to get this defense really to come back and answer the defensive stops that Rutgers have been able to. And on the other side, Mike Teel and offensive coordinator John McCourty trying to figure out how they can get in to the red zone and get a score for their own.
So John McCourty, second year as the offensive coordinator for Rutgers, he's been taking some heat as well as his quarterback. And, you know, Teel actually saying that this could be his best year numbers-wise by the end of the season, but definitely won't be his best year of his career after getting booed at home this season.
Well, he's taken a lot of heat, but you know what? He's enjoyed every weekend going out and being the quarterback here, and he'll enjoy nothing more than going on the road today and trying to come up with a victory and really set the tone for the next 2 weeks of the season. This is a huge game for both teams here today.
Boy, to keep it on the ground. Looked like Larry Zonka that time, didn't it?
Yeah, Joe Martinek doing a great job of keeping his pad level low, Mike, and really going north and south without hesitation. He's a tough runner in between the tackles, and Allen comes up with the tackle, but this is coming right at you. Joe Martinek, you can't even see him. His pad level's so low, and he absorbs the hit and keeps going forward. That's a nice run.
Well, he was the Gatorade Player of the Year in New Jersey. He's a freshman. And he's carried it twice here this afternoon, once for 9, once for 7. And he moves the chains. 1st and 10, the ball at the 41-yard line. Play action, Teel going for the home run ball over the middle. Britt, complete inside the 25. Jerome Murphy on the coverage, gain of 35 yards that time. And Kenny Britt came into the game with 60 catches. He had 62 all of last year. That's 28 straight games now he's brought in a pass.
And that was too easy for Mike Teel and his high receiver here. Nobody in the middle of the field, so Teel knows he's going to be able to lead his leading receiver with no safety. And this is an easy pitch and catch, great protection, and then you just throw it where nobody is, and that's the middle of the field. He lets Kenny Britt go up and get the football.
That's Britt in motion. That's Britt with the football. That's Britt thinking about throwing it, looking for some running room, and a nice job of the Bulls of stretching it out to Jariat Bowie, making the initial contact defensively for the Bulls.
That was a nice call after a big play by the Rutgers offense. Greg Schiano and John McCourty on the sideline trying to dial it up. Mike Teel, the quarterback's out here, and Kenny Britt is going to take the handoff and then try to throw a pass, an option pass. That time it was a good decision because nothing was there. So Kenny Britt does the wise thing, try to get whatever he can and gets out of bounds. But that was a good comeback after a big play. They had probably planned to do that during the week.
John, a loss of 3. A less experienced player might have thrown it anyway.
That was a good job.
Teel swings it out. That's Britt again. A little stutter step and a juke. He's inside the 25-yard line. Then back to the line of scrimmage. And Kenny Britt, another catch. He came in just 30 yards shy of the school record. Keep in mind, he's only a junior. That is the school record right now, passing Trez Moses. He's another one of those athletes here in the Big East thinking about, do I stay or do I go?
Well, he's had such a great year, 11 career 100-yard receiving games. He's just an excellent receiver and goes up and fights for the football. But the defense now, the Bulls, Rutgers has turned back the USF offense twice. This is the first opportunity for the Bulls to see what they can do on 3rd down.
Final play, first quarter. Teel over the middle, has his man. Tyquan Underwood inside the 10 and dropped at about the 7-yard line. Gain of 13 that time for Tyquan Underwood. A preseason first-team all Big East pick. And that's the end of the first quarter here from Tampa, Florida. Still scoreless with Mike Teel and company. On the move. They're flying now. Knocking on the door. That Bull defense will have to rise to the occasion. And some of the Rutgers fans are making their way down to South Florida from Piscataway. Scoreless game here. And Raymond James and Mike Teel, after throwing the pick, John, has settled down quite.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. He's gone 3 for 3 after the interception for 55 yards. And he's done a nice job of just settling this offense down. But now is where it counts. They got to cash in.
Here's the pitch. Young gets Now Martinek again to the 5-yard line. Sabbath Joseph making the stop for USF. And the Scarlet Knights, 8 touchdowns in their last 10 red zone trips. And on the season, 81% success in the red zone, 57% they get in with a touchdown.
Yeah, Rutgers 5th in the league in the red zone offense, and on the other side for the Bulls defensively, they come in 3rd in the league inside the 20-yard line and keeping guys out of the end zone. It's a good time to bow your back with your Rutgers and possibly give the illusion you're going to punch it in and throw a little play-action pass to your tight end.
Martinek again keeps those legs driving down to the 2, maybe the 2.5-yard line. Came in with 19 carries, averaging about 7.3 yards a carry. So Cordell Young might be the man, but that's a pretty impressive average, 7.3 for Martinek.
I think in this day and age, you need 2 backs. You know, you need a guy that's going to go in there and be the main guy, but you also need a guy that's going to spell the running back against the majority of the carries. And Joe Martinek's done an excellent job in the last couple of weeks for John McNulty in this offense of really spelling Cordell Young.
Rutgers losing Ray Rice to the NFL. Rice with back-to-back 2,000-yard rushing seasons, and Mike Teel again doesn't like what he sees. And so Rutgers here, first possession of the second quarter, they've expired all their timeouts here, so they have no timeouts left in the first half. So we're going to take a timeout here from Raymond James. We're scoreless. Rutgers knocking on the door. Back in Tampa, scoreless game, John, and 9th play of the drive now coming up for Rutgers.
Yeah, started on their own 25-yard line, 8 plays. Mike Teel looking to find a way to get 6 out of this drive.
5 receivers inside the 5-yard line for Teel.
You would think quarterback draw in this situation.
Out of the shotgun, there it is, good call. Fights his way in, and it's a touchdown. A 3-yard touchdown burst by Mike Teel. And John Congenital, good call.
Well, it took a while, but he got in there. And Mike Teel, good job of staying inside the tackles. He found a little crease up the middle. I think he crosses the line for the touchdown initially. Let's take another look. I think he's in for 6 points. That's a good job of being strong up the middle. And Mike Teel, thank goodness he only had to go 4, maybe 5 or 6 he might not have got there.
That's his second rushing touchdown in 2008 to San Santee. On for the PAT. It's low, but it's good. So Rutgers goes 75 yards in 9 plays, using up 5 minutes and 2 seconds. And they're on the board first on the road, looking for their 4-game winning streak. Mike Teel at the quarterbacks, the 6 touchdowns against Pittsburgh. He had 5 in the first half. He's the first player in Big East history to throw 5 touchdown passes in one half. So Greg Schiano and the Scarlet Knights sitting on top 7-0. Of course, we told you Cincinnati sitting on top of the Big East after a 28-20 win over Louisville last night. They're 8-2, 4-1. The head coach of the Bearcats, Brian Kelly, joins us from Cincinnati. Brian, congratulations, a gutsy win last night. Let me ask you this, Coach. Big win over West Virginia. Pittsburgh on the horizon. A lot of people said this could be a very dangerous game. As the head coach, what did you do to make sure that your team stayed in the moment?
Well, obviously, we haven't been in this turf before, so it was important that we let our kids know that each and every week in this league, it's a knockdown, drag-out, especially when it's a rivalry game. There's a lot of emotion in this game. Both teams, obviously, 90 miles away, means a lot to them. But, you know, at the end of the day, what was most pleasing for me is that in a rivalry game, no unsportsmanlike penalties, no personal fouls, no taunting. Just 2 teams in the Big East that played real hard.
And, Coach, you know, it was a tough night to play, and I thought Tony Pike really did a great job of protecting the football. He made that nice touchdown throw to Dominic Goodman, his 21st TD reception, tied a school record. I just thought he played efficiently.
I really agree. Under those circumstances, a wet ball out there. We had a couple of droughts, but he played really solid football for us. Like I said, if he had a couple other throws that were caught, I think he throws for over 300 yards. But, again, a great performance in that sense. And, again, we found a way to win.
I thought Grutza did a nice job coming in after Pike lost his breath, couldn't catch his wind on the sideline. I thought Grutza did an excellent job of coming in and making a play to really keep the sticks moving and keep your drive alive.
Courageous. He really wasn't ready to play, but he's a senior, and he convinced me that he could get it done, and he led us on a 72-yard drive, and it ended up being the winning drive for UC.
Well, Brian, you've already taken care of Rutgers and USF, so I would think that you're focused now on Pitt. What are some of the keys, in your estimation, of that game in Cincinnati next week?
Well, again, it starts with Jason McCourty and his ability to set up everything else. Saul is a very efficient quarterback. The receiving corps, in particular, Kinder coming back this year, has really balanced out their offense. And defensively, it starts with McKillop inside. He's all over the field. It's just a well-balanced, well-coached football team.
Coach, thank you so much for calling in. Best of luck, and congratulations again on your win last night.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck, Coach.
Brian Kelly, the head coach of the Bearcats of Cincinnati, 4-1, sitting on top of the Big East right now. They have Pittsburgh coming up next week. Grothy to Ben Williams. Boy, he's a tough son of a gun, isn't he? Bearcats, if, and I say if, John, if they beat your alma mater, Pittsburgh, their final home game, they'd be playing for that BCS berth.
Oh, absolutely. And I got to think the people of Cincinnati are really excited about next week. An 8-2 record, 4-1 in the Big East. They're going up against a ranked team really for all the marbles now because they got over the hurdle last night at Louisville. So they have control of their own destiny, as you would say. And all they have to do is go out and play another efficient game next week.
This one's complete. Hester inside the 30-yard line. Making the stop is David Rowe. Gain of 22 for Hester.
Boy, and Matt Grothy let one rip down the middle. This is a good throw. We're staring right at him. That ball comes out of the pocket with authority right on the numbers of Jesse Hester. Great job by Matt Grothy.
The son of Jesse Hester, 11-year NFL veteran, and Mike Canales, the receivers coach, saying his dad taught him great technique, composure, patience. Here's a guy with some composure right now. Grothy gets down just shy of the 10-yard line. A pickup of 16 that time before Courtney Green dragged him down.
Boy, great anticipation by offensive coordinator Greg Gregory. He's anticipating the blitz, and you're going to see everybody coming from the field. This is a design run by Matt Grothy away from the pressure. This is terrific call by Greg Gregory. Grothy's going to come back. He's got the lead blocker there in Benjamin Williams. Just a great call at a perfect time.
8 carries, 49 yards for the USF quarterback. Williams hits a wall and gets pushed back. Forward progress, maybe the line of scrimmage. Alex Silvestro, playing his first year down in the defensive trenches, he said the biggest thing to get used to was you're getting popped in the mouth on every play down there.
Yeah, there's no avoiding contact where Alex is right now, and he did a nice job on first down and winning that battle at the line of scrimmage. And looks like the Bulls may take a timeout to talk about it on 2nd and 10.
So Rutgers, they've exhausted all of their timeouts here in the first half. That's the first one used by the Bulls, so they have 2 remaining. And they trail 7-0. Jim Levitt, 85-50 as the head coach. Here in Tampa, Rutgers in South Florida, inside Raymond James Stadium, the Big East game of the week. Along with John Conjemi, the former Pitt quarterback, Quinn Kesnick, Mike Gleason here. And there's a ton at stake for both of these schools. Rutgers, they won 3 straight games, trying to make it 4. They're trying to finish 7-5. And the Bulls, they've lost 2 straight games, trying to finish 10-3 possibly. And again, Cincinnati, after their win over Louisville, sitting on top 4-1. Pittsburgh, West Virginia, 3-1. Obviously Cincinnati sitting in the driver's seat after the win over West Virginia, but nobody's really talking about the Mountaineers. They still have, if Pittsburgh should beat Cincinnati.
Well, and no one's really talking about them because they've been so inconsistent this year. They're not the team that you can rely on and say, hey, they're going to play their game. They've either showed up and played well, or they've had spots where, maybe the special teams weren't on, or the defense wasn't on, or the offense didn't click. So I think that's why you're not getting the attention. The Mountaineers aren't getting that attention.
If Pittsburgh should win, boy, the backyard brawl will be a brawl with a capital B. Grothy. This one's deflected at the line of scrimmage, so that defensive front for Rutgers continues to play tough as Pete Cadurdo got his big left hand on it. Cudurto, of course, missing 1 game. He's had at least 1 tackle for a loss all 8 games, 12 straight games now.
This is an important series for Greg Schiano, but as well as the Bulls offensively. This is the 3rd time they've been down in this situation, and they're 2 out of 4 on 3rd downs today.
Grothy dropped the ball out of the shotgun, picks it up, fires, it's complete, down to the 5, then Williams on the receiving end. And Grothy has to be frustrated. Williams is frustrated.
That's a touchdown. If they get a good snap, that's a touchdown. And Jim Levitt in a difficult situation of whether they want to go for it or kick the field goal. But this is a touchdown. If Grothy can field this ball or get a better snap or a better throw, his running back Williams is going to walk into the end zone.
Well, Grothy comes off, and Mike Teel, the freshman kicker, comes on. He's missed a 42-yard field goal. This will be from 22. The freshman out of Lake Wales, born in Brazil. Drills it right down the middle this time. They don't get 7, but they settle for 3.
Well, they have to get points out of that drive. They've been down there 3 times, Mike, so they had to get points, and they get back into the game with that field goal.
Outside looking in Raymond James Stadium. What a beautiful day here in South Florida. We're expecting cloudy skies and about 30% chance of rain, but boy, it is sunny blue here. 7-3, and what about the drive there? 57 yards, John, and just 3:10.
Well, the Bulls had to get some points out of that drive. They've been down there twice, really been turned away by an aggressive and disciplined Rutgers defense, and this time they cash in with the 22-yard field goal by Benani, but they had to score points to answer Rutgers.
Benani, what a story, huh? We mentioned the freshman kicker. He was the MVP of his high school soccer team as a freshman. Made All-State in football as a junior. School's #1 ranked tennis player, and he was the class valedictorian.
He's got it all.
Wow. McCourty at the 5-yard line, drops it. He is hit, and he is hit hard by a host of Bulls. A return of 18. Our catch of the week is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. And we go to the Pac-10 of Aaron Tucker. Watch this gun, an incredible one-handed stab along the sidelines. Cal hanging in there. USC pulls away late to win at 17-3. Tucker, 3 receptions for 40. But that one right there is our Bass Pro Shops catch of the week. Boy, that USC defense reminded me of that 1992 Alabama team, but they might not even get to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, they may not get there.
Oh, razzle-dazzle. Timmy Brown, 20. Good defensive job that time by the Bulls. Brown thought he had more running room. Carlton Williams getting over there and almost had the horse collar.
Yeah, he was very lucky he didn't get the face mask or the horse collar, but defensive coordinator Wally Burnham, he loves Carlton Williams against the run, and he's actually bringing him down from that strong safety spot to help out with the linebackers a little bit today. So Burnham using his best players to try to take away from those injuries at the linebacker spot. Carlton Williams is one of those guys.
Second quarter from Tampa, 7-3. Rutgers looking for their 4th straight win. Here comes the pressure. Carlton Williams, he's got a pick, and now he's got a sack. They call him the Warrior. He has played injured, but I'll tell you that, John, he didn't look too banged up that time.
Boy, difficult situation for Mike Teel. Nobody's blocking 32 Carlton Williams. He's going to be at the line of the scrimmage. He's coming right off, and he runs right by the tight end. It might have been a hot read by Teel, but in any event, nobody's on the strong safety, the 2nd sack for the team today.
Senior out of Valdosta, Georgia. 3rd and 10. There's trips to the bottom of your screen for Mike Teel, making his 36th consecutive start. Timmy Brown dropped the football. He had it at the 36. I'm not sure how he dropped that one for a receiver.
Boy, you can hear the thud from up here. And I know the thud from the offensive coordinator, John McNulty, just shaking his head because you can't get any more wide open than this. And Tim Brown, normally so reliable, he just waits for the ball and lets the ball play him. He doesn't attack the football. You got to come back and use your hands. The ball gets into his body, and he wants to cradle it. Teel took a little bit off of it as well, but that's just not a good play on third down.
Well, Jason Braun up in the booth, the media relations director for Rutgers, saying that he's been such a spark plug as of late. Delegana. Edwards, he wants to run it, and he's dropped immediately as Tyquan Underwood gets down to make the stop. A 37-yard punt with a flag on the play right before he punted the football.
I think it's going to be procedure against Rutgers.
Legal formation on the punt team. 5 yards will be added to the end of the run. First down.
Well, the end of the run resulted in 0, but they get 5 yards nonetheless. And Greg Schiano. Scarlet Knights on top, 7-3. Timmy Brown at 4.25 speed, but he dropped a big pass there. They're going to make him kick it again?
Yeah, I think so.
Our energy. I use it. I love it.
Time, Greg Schiano's bunch on top 7-3, but they're going to make him punt it again, John.
Yeah, a good decision. We'll see with field position. It looked like Jim Levitt's ball club was going to have the football around the 40-yard line, so let's see how it turns out with this second opportunity.
This time, Teddy Delegana will be kicking it at about the 7 or 8 yard line. Marcus Edwards standing at the 42. Nice punt by Delegana. Edwards goes down, and again, good coverage by Rutgers. That time it was Jason McCourty. Last time it was Tyquan Underwood. Hey, fans, win a trip and game tickets to Tradewinds Beach Resort and the St. Petersburg Bowl in warm and sunny Florida. Register to win at justletgo.com/bowl or stpetersburgbowl.com. Not a bad place to be here for the bowl season down in Tampa, St. Petersburg. And good field position for the Bulls of USF, trailing by 4.
Yeah, and they've struggled a little bit, Mike, in their last 4 possessions. You can see a fumble, a punt, and a missed field goal, and only 3 points. And they've had decent field position. They put together some decent plays, 11-play drive, a 6-play drive, and an 8-play drive, but they only come away with 3 points. They have to do better than that, and Grothy is going to probably have to rely on his play, either with his running ability or throwing the football from here on.
Last 2 games with Rutgers, the Bulls have lost by a combined 5 points. Grothy batted down once again. This one's picked. Rutgers with the football, 30. Inside the 25-yard line. Ball once again tipped at the line of scrimmage, and George Johnson, the defensive end, came up and returned it 26 yards.
As you said, Mike, the ball was tipped early. Grothy trying to go to the short side of the field, but George Johnson, playing center field, just really ran underneath the football. George Johnson is going to drop back in coverage. He's right here. He's going to get that tip pass from the line of scrimmage. Just a nice job. It looked like Tadiroff, number 97, with the tip pass, and then George Johnson goes rumbling down the Rutgers sideline. Just unfortunate break for Matt Grothy. He was going to a safe pass, but Johnson right there. Today they have 2 turnovers. In the 5 losses, they haven't had any.
Yeah, Rutgers came in at -8. Now they've got 2. Young fires it back to Teel. Wow, that was a dangerous one. He picks up maybe 1 and pays the price just to pull in the reception. He had some good zip on the ball there, throwing it. We saw Young, of course, in Cincinnati throw a touchdown pass. But boy, he had to thread the needle that time.
I'm surprised Mike Teel didn't try to bat that football down, because big number 95, George Selvey, was waiting. Selvey's going to be up here at the top of the screen. And watch this. This looks like a knockout blow right there, and he just misses Mike Teel. But Teel says, I don't know if I like that call anymore. He's going to stay on the sidelines for this one.
2nd and 10. Vitale, the backup quarterback, looks for some running room, and George Selvey back in there again for the stop. Vitale, the Michigan State transfer, grew up in New Jersey, but he's happy to be back home, and he goes off the field, and Teel comes back in.
Well, George Selvey on 2 plays in a row shows you how explosive he could be from that defensive end position. He almost knocks out Mike Teel on that throwback to the quarterback, and then on 2nd down, he's in on the tally on the tackle. So 3rd and long.
You think Teel went over and said, "Hey, coach, let's not run that play again"?
Yeah, I'm sure they scratched that one out.
Out of the shotgun. This one's batted the other way, and it's picked again. Penalty flag drops at about the 7-yard line. And once again, it's number 32, Carlton Williams. If it stands, that'll be his 2nd pick.
They're going to call pass interference or holding, but that ball was tipped, so I'm not sure if the officials may pick this one up.
Yeah, once it's touched at that line of scrimmage or touched, yeah, they're going to pick it up. Good call, John.
There was no foul on the play for pass interference. The ball was tipped. First down.
Live football once it's tipped.
Well, that's a great job by the Bulls defense. They give one up on a tip pass for an interception, and Greg Schiano doesn't agree. He thought the interference or the holding was before, but a nice job of getting their hands up in the air. They didn't get a lot of pass rush, but they were able to get hands in the face. It looked like George Selvey was the one that gets a hand on it coming on the game on the inside, but good coverage in the defensive secondary by the Bulls, and you can see George saying, "That was me, guys, that was me."
Well, George Selvey, well, those numbers last year, 14.5 sacks, 31.5 tackles for a loss, and it's amazing, John, how many times this year, of course he had the high ankle sprain, but how many times they've actually run away from the All-American.
Well, they've double teamed him, they've triple teamed him, they've even quadruple teamed him twice this year. So when you have 95 on your back, you're going to get a lot of attention by the opposing offenses.
You know, they've got a good record going as we listen to Tom Thompson. Play stands. You look at the numbers that they have piled up, John, as we take a look at the number. Selvey with the deflection, Williams with his 2nd pick. And sometimes when he's double teamed, they're running away from him. Do you buy that? Or?
Well, you know, he's such an impactful player. He can run down so many plays when you go away from him. You might as well go ahead and take care of him and get him out of the play. So, you know, he warrants a lot of attention.
Look at the formation here. 4 receivers to the left. And Grothy runs it without much success as once again Pete cleared up. Who is really, really having a strong senior season for Rutgers. Selvey.
He had 2 interceptions on the afternoon for South Florida's defense. An interception in 18 of the last 22 games.
And 2 here this afternoon by the same young man, Carlton Williams. This one's complete. And Jesse Hester. I was trying to say earlier in the broadcast, John, that Hester's dad taught him technique and everything, and Mike Canales was saying he might run a 4.5, but a lot of 4.2 guys don't run as hard as he does because he can go full bore because he knows the game so well.
Well, the good thing about Jesse Hester, he gets in and out of routes very quickly, and he can make a small cushion a very nice target for your quarterback, and he does a great job of that.
Those are the numbers there coming in. 37. He's got a couple of catches here this afternoon. Hester, like Grothy, only a junior. Grothy fires, and this one's picked. McCourty. 5, pick 6, touchdown Rutgers. Three-year starter, John, and that is his first INT, and it goes for 6.
Well, it's been the defenses that have really been turning the tide, and 3 great defensive stands, 2 by Rutgers and 1 by the Bulls, and this time they turn it into 6. McCourty gets that bobbled pass. Grothy trying to go to the wide side of the field. There wasn't a lot of room to stick this football in there. I think he could have hung to the short side, but McCourty read Grothy. He came off from the cornerback spot, came all the way inside to the curl route. Watch him. He'll come off of his guy and get inside. Just a great read of the quarterback's eyes, and McCourty saw it the whole way. Grothy didn't see him. He didn't account for him because he's not supposed to be there.
You know, Jason McCourty, his first INT goes for 6. His brother, Devin, on the other corner has 2 INTs for touchdowns. So playing catch-up with his bro. And they come on for the extra point, San T. And defensive and special teams touchdowns under Schiano. Rutgers had recorded 31 under Schiano since he took over in 2001. That's 32 now. As Sansanti drills it through. And Rutgers, keep in mind, red hot coming in to South Florida. And it looks like the bubble turning it up, like Quint said, to 85 degrees. The heat has not affected this football team.
No, they haven't. They've come right out and they've hung step for step with the Bulls offensively and defensively. Today, 3 forced turnovers, and it has led to 14 points. They've done a nice job of harassing Matt Grothe. And we said at the open, Matt Grothe was going to have to play perfect today. He was going to face a lot of adversity, a lot of pressure. And so far, it's been advantage Scarlet Knights. They've done a nice job of pressuring the pocket, but getting in the face of the receivers and undercutting routes, and that's exactly what Greg Schiano wanted. That tempo, that type of win, and that type of confidence to carry over week to week, because now they feel like they've got their goals all set out in front of them.
Well, you saw Greg Schiano there, the nation's second-best pass defense in 2007. And 2 picks here this afternoon. Matt Grothe now on the season with 10 picks. 14 touchdowns, 10 picks. Remember in 2006 he had 15 touchdowns, 14 picks. 14 touchdowns, 14 picks last year, and now he's in double figures in both categories again at 14 and 10.
And not to stay on Matt Grothe, because a lot of the interceptions this year have not been all his fault. There's been a lot of tip passes, a lot of bobbles that have turned into interceptions. But on that particular play on 3rd down, I think he wanted to go to the short side of the field, but he didn't see it clearly. So he was late going to the wide side of the field. That allowed McCourty time to get off of his route, come underneath the inside route, and be somewhere where Matt Grothe didn't expect him to be.
Well, Matt Grothe, that's a great point you bring up, because you go back to that Cincinnati game, as Greg Gregory said, that they had 6 drops. 4 of them should have been first downs. And so it's not always the quarterback's fault. I'll say that. You can't say that, of course, being a former quarterback. Can't protect those guys too much, right?
Well, you can when it's warranted. That's for sure, Mike.
All right, that's fair enough. Short kick. And the Bulls, once again, will have some decent running room. As Cedric Hill, the tight end, finally gets his mitts on the football. And turnovers, definitely the story here in South Florida today.
Well, it really has been. It's really told the name of the game today. And you get the fumble, the strip football early in the game when they're in scoring position is South Florida. And then you get the Teel pick in double coverage, a ball that never should have been thrown. You get a tip pass that George Johnson gets, and it goes down the Rutgers sideline and sets up a score. Then the tip ball over the middle that Carlton Williams gets, and then McCourty slips underneath the curl route. Just a lot of tip passes and a lot of unfortunate situations for the quarterbacks today.
Nice heads-up play there, a Brett Favre type pass. And it's complete to Mo Plancher, the 5'9" junior out of Naples, Florida. And there's Mike Teel, the senior quarterback. South Florida 3 turnovers in the game. Rutgers coming in at -8.
Well, Mike, now Rutgers going to face an up-tempo offense by the Bulls. Going to try to get out of that funk with the turnovers and try to get into some type of rhythm by going a little bit faster at the line of scrimmage.
Well, it's amazing how turnovers can change the complexion of a football game, huh? Grothe out of the shotgun, finds his man. That's A.J. Love, over the 50, down to the 49. Devin McCourty makes the defensive stop. Let's go downstairs with Quint.
Mike, I can't tell you how much Rutgers has transformed themselves as a team confidence-wise since we saw them earlier this year against West Virginia and Cincinnati. That was a stage in the season when bad things would happen, they would lose confidence. They would get down. They would find ways to lose. Today and over the last 3 weeks, you're seeing a team that just bounces back from any setback. They're playing aggressive. They're playing confidence. And they really believe that they're going to win this game. And you just see it in their body language.
Yeah, it's amazing turnaround, Quint. Of course, we did the game at Cincinnati, 13-10. They had the ball, and they dropped a 4th down pass that would have kept the clock or the chains moving. And against West Virginia, they had the ball
at the end of the game as well.
Down 24-17, and they had it in West Virginia territory after the Mountaineers went for it 4th and 1 and did not get it against this defense. But you had said all along the defense has been playing tough. It was the offense.
Yeah, they were turning the football over, and I think Quint makes a great point about the confidence level. It only takes a couple of wins to get your confidence back, and I believe that this team felt they could play at this level when this season started. You know, they didn't, and they fought adversity, but they never fell apart. They hung in there as an offense, as a defense, as special teams, and as a coaching staff. And I think that's why you have to credit Greg Schiano and his staff, because he's been able to keep this team together. He never lost faith in what they believed in and what they had in the summertime, and the belief that they were going to be a team that could compete for the Big East championship. So this is a team that feels like they're a championship team.
You know, John, he said something this week that I thought really stood out. He says, my players don't get judged until Sunday.
Right.
Not judging them on Saturday keeps them in the moment. I thought that was impressive. Well, fans, don't forget to check out the Liberty Mutual Coach of the Year. And now here's more on how you can vote for your favorite coach.
The Liberty Mutual Coach of the Year award is given to the college football coach in each division who delivers results while demonstrating sportsmanship, integrity, responsibility, and excellence both on and off the field. Go to coachoftheyear.com and vote for the coach you think deserves to win in 2008.
And you look at some storylines of another Saturday, college football in 2008. And, well, you got Alabama. Of course, a lot of people might cast their vote for Nick Saban, but I'm not going to put you on the spot. But you had a good candidate at the top.
Mike Leach, you know, he's done a great job for Texas Tech and coming back, and they've got so many weapons offensively. I think that's a team that, or a coach that definitely garners consideration. And you look around the country, and Urban Meyer does such a great job keeping his team at only one loss, and teams like that. But there's probably more guys you can mention that are on their way out than going on their way upward. So, and this is one game right here that the coaches really need on either side. Jim Leavitt needs this game for Matt Grothe, and just as Greg Schiano needs it for his team to carry on.
Yeah, it's almost a must-win for both schools. Grothe over the middle, and this one's complete inside the 30-yard line. Green coming up to make the stop. And once again, Jesse Hester picks up 19 yards.
Mike, I think Jesse Hester's becoming that go-to guy for the Bulls and their offense. To the short side of the field, he's been there all afternoon, and Matt Grothe starting to look to his way more often.
Well, stoppage down on the field right now. Hester, 4 catches, 54 yards. And today's 1st and 10 line is brought to you by Overstock.com. Bulls averaging 30.9. They're tied with Pittsburgh as far as the scoring leaders in the Big East Conference, right now with just 1 field goal to show for their efforts here this afternoon. Down 14-3 to a rejuvenated Rutgers squad. Greg Schiano trying to get back to a bowl game. It'll be their 4th straight. They've had back-to-back bowl victories. Something we've talked about before. But it's amazing to think that they had 1 bowl trip in 131 years before Schiano got there. Grothe, 13 of 19 for 112 yards. Going upstairs again. Feeling the pressure in this one. Looking for Hester. Falls incomplete.
Well, that time one of the best blockers for the Bulls, Benjamin Williams, he misses the linebacker, and that caused Matt Grothe to feel the pressure right up the middle and had to get rid of the football before he wanted to.
Grothe, one of 3 quarterbacks last year to run for at least 850 and pass for 2,500. And you see the plays. South Florida, 35 plays for 166 yards. You'd think they were winning the ball game.
Yeah, and only 3 points.
This one's complete on the far side. A little spin move. Nice job after the catch by Dontavia Bogan. The sophomore picks up 13. Kevin Malice, the linebacker, finally brings him down.
Wow, Bogan looked great on the wide side of the field. Just a harmless little 5-step stop route. But watch the spin move. First the stop and start, and then the spin move to get the first down. That was explosive by Bogan.
Inside the red zone now, the Bulls. 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line. I mentioned Grothe, one of 3 quarterbacks to run for 850, pass for 2,500. Tim Tebow, Dan Lefevre, the other 2. Grothe looking. Oh! He was looking, and he almost found his man. That's number 89, Torres Johnson, the senior. And he was
wide open. He was standing there on the goal line, just wanted to catch it and fall down. You called it, Mike. Torres Johnson just standing on the goal line, and Grothe really flushes himself to the left. He squares his shoulders up. He just missed him. That's all you can say. You're going to have one of those throws. He just missed him.
Johnson waves his arms, then he realizes, hey, the girl hawk didn't try it. Matt Grothy now, 10. Down to the 5-yard line, and he had to get to about the 7 for the first down, so it'll be first and goal. A gain of 12 that time. Courtney Green makes the stop for Rutgers.
Another good situation, a good situational call by Jim Levitt's staff and his offensive coordinator, Greg Gregory. They did that in the first quarter earlier in the game when they felt pressure against the blitz. Matt Grothy runs that quarterback draw to perfection.
Well, he has 20 rushing touchdowns, 4 shy of the school record set by Andre Hall. And a touchdown here would be huge for the Bulls. And there it is. Benjamin Williams, a one-time walk-on. And one of the toughest son-of-a guns on this football team.
Boy, and that's a great answer by the Bulls and Jim Levitt's staff. Good, tough, aggressive running inside by Benjamin Williams after the Grothy quarterback draw.
So Williams coming off his best outing as far as yardage, 79 yards against Cincinnati, picks up his 3rd rushing touchdown this year. This time from 5 yards out.
Boy, good job by the offensive line. Matt Huner's just kicking out Mark Dial to the left side, and Ryan Schmidt, Jake Griffin doing a great job up front.
Lycon Benani right down the middle of the freeway. On the extra point, we'll keep it here. It's 14-10. Well, Jim Levitt now watches his team go 8 plays, 67 yards.
Yeah, all in 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Nice run, inside running by Benjamin Williams, but the offensive line, look at Dial out in front. Just really sealing off the outside, and the good timing in the run offense gets Benjamin Williams a crease up the middle. Nobody touches him from the Scarlet Knights, and they close the deficit to 14-10.
You know, it's amazing, too. He made it as a walk-on in open tryouts, and you know, some guys will sit around the lounge and watch highlight reels of big touchdown plays. A lot of the Bulls, John, will sit around and watch highlights of him blocking because he just nails some people.
Yeah, when he gets somebody, their eyes on him and he's coming in, he locks up, he blows them up, and he does a great job of pass blocking, and that's what he's been known for. But he can also pick them up, Mike, and put them down, and he's a great aggressive runner in between the tackles. And I know that concerns Greg Schiano and makes Jim Levitt awful happy on his sideline.
You know, speaking of Benjamin Williams, Ronnie McKeefrey, the strength coach for USF, said he was watching a program on ESPN talk about Javon Ringer, how strong he was in the weight room. And he said every number they threw up there was impressive. But he said, you know what? Benjamin Williams can beat that. He benched 430 pounds, squatted 660. Wow, that's a lot of weight.
Yeah. There's no reason you have to bench 660 unless you want to.
Yeah, Benani with the kick. And that's the second time he's put it in the end zone this season. McCourty up over the 30. And McCourty. Wow, with just under 3 minutes to go, Benjamin Williams runs him out of bounds. And Jason McCourty with a nice return. 61 yards that time. So, champion, it's how you play. And you look at some of the traditions in the Big East Conference. Jim Levitt, every game comes out before the offense. And, boy, this guy has a lot of energy.
We want to talk about running with the Bulls. He run with the head bull right there. Head coach Jim Levitt. He'll take a few laps around, shake a few hands, but gets those nerves out of the way.
And once again, all season long, Champion Apparel, showcasing the tradition and history of the Big East Conference. Jim Levitt, a bunch of energy.
Mike, after a big run like this, you'd really like to maybe fake like you're going to run and go down the field.
Teel from the shotgun. Plenty of time. Dumps it. There's a pop, and Tyquan Underwood stays on his feet, gets down to the 35-yard line. Keon Wilson making the stop. Let's head downstairs now with Quinn.
Well, Jim Levitt right there saying, rap, rap, rap. This is a guy who is as animated as it gets. Perpetual motion machine. 2 hours before the game, when South Florida's dropped off here by bus, he sprints onto the field, touches the far goal post, and then goes back to the locker room. Let me tell you, this guy is still fit, transfers his energy, his love of the game to his players. He basically plays the game without a helmet on the sideline.
Good point, Quint. They say it's a good thing they're playing a noon game, because if it was a night game, he'd be pacing the streets of Tampa in a suit. Cordell Young right up the middle, and he gets down inside the 25-yard line. Gain of 10 that time. There's Jim Levitt inside Raymond James, his home for the Bulls. He's the only coach the Bulls have known in his 12th year as the Bulls take on the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, along with John Congemi, Quint Kesting, Mike Gleason here for the Big East Game of the Week. And there's a ton at stake as we go deeper and deeper into this 2008 season. Rutgers, they've won the last 2 games by a combined 5 points, looking for a 4-game winning streak. On top by 4 as we approach halftime. Empty backfield. Teel comes out throwing. Had his man, and that's the second drop pass that should have been caught by dependable receivers.
Good play call that time by offensive coordinator John McNulty. Greg Schiano had 5 players to the wide side of the field and left his best receiver man-to-man to the short side, and Kenny Britt. Teel put it on the money. But as you said, Tim Brown has dropped one in that situation. Now Kenny Britt comes back and drops one. So it's second down. Still in a great situation for Mike Teel to put some points on the board. But you have to make plays when they present themselves, especially the easy ones, Mike.
That's Britt in motion to the top of your screen. Teel finds Britt. And he's wrapped up shy of the 20-yard line. Carlton Williams once again. He's got a sack and 2 picks, so he's had a huge day. The senior out of Valdosta, Georgia.
When he's a sure tackler coming out of that secondary. Carlton Williams came into the game, 40 tackles, 1 pick. He's been all over the field today for the Bulls, and you can see him getting the crowd and getting his teammates excited for this big 3rd down.
Carlton Williams, 11 tackles in the loss to Cincinnati. Trying to snap a 2-game skid. Bulls losers of 3 of their last 4. 3rd down play. Teel finds his man Underwood. Underwood, 1st down, inside the 10. And looking for the end zone, dropped at the 3-yard line. Louis Gachette finally making the stop. A gain of 20 that time for Underwood, and boy, his confidence is back, huh?
Well, that's the forgotten man, Tyquan Underwood. He's going to slip underneath, and this is where the Bulls are a little bit weak in the middle of their defense. Somebody you can't let him cross your face if you're the linebacker, and that's what happened with Wilson. Keon Wilson let Underwood get across the field, and he found that open area, catches the football, and just takes it inside the 5 down to the 2-yard line.
One of the Bulls down.
Looked like Louis Gachette.
Rutgers, no timeouts left. You see 39 seconds on the clock. You get back to Underwood. All season long, we're talking with people from Rutgers, and Jason Braun was telling us that he's never pointed a finger. Here's a guy with 1,100 yards receiving last year, 7 touchdowns, 13 in his career. And you mentioned last week he had 2, but that was the first 2 this season. But he's never pointed the finger, never got frustrated.
Well, I don't think you can, as we see Louis Gachette get up on his own power and run off and jog off the field. But I don't think you can. When you're a player of Underwood's caliber, you know your time's going to come. It's only a matter of time until Mike Teel doesn't see Kenny Britt, doesn't see Kevin Brock, and he's got to come back. And it's got to be scheme-wise, too. You got to get the ball to Tyquan in certain situations. He's good inside the 20-yard line.
Underwood, 4 catches, 49 yards. 1st and goal. Teel wants to throw it. Has it. Touchdown. That's the fullback, Corcoran. Jack Corcoran just pulls in his 2nd receiving touchdown this year, and Rutgers continues to roll.
Boy, what a great answer for the Scarlet Knights. After the big kick return, they get great field position, and Mike Teel takes him down, and the crowd, the Rutgers faithful that travel to South Florida, very happy that they did, and they see their fullback, Jack Corcoran, just too easy to the short side of the field. You see motion and then motion back to the short side. Teel comes out and just lobs the football out to Corcoran for the easy 6.
Whose assignment was it to get over there? Because he's in motion. They know that he catches the football as Sansan Key drills the PAT. Who missed the assignment
Well, it's
there?
probably the last guy on the line of scrimmage, because he's the guy that has the 1st man out.
Well, Rutgers, as I mentioned, continuing to roll. How far did they go that time, John?
Well, 6 plays, 41 yards, and only took 2 minutes and 33 seconds off the clock. They thought heat may be a factor, but right now, the gas coming out of the Bulls sideline.
Corcoran, the junior out of Atlantic City, New Jersey, no carries.
Right here, Mike, here and here, you have the back and you have the wide receiver, and nobody gets out to that flat route. That's just a good design and a good job by Teel getting the football, getting it up, and getting it out. And a nice job by Cochran, knowing where he was in the end zone, not to really get his feet out of bounds. He caught the football and just kept his legs very still, and the feet were in bounds.
Yeah, Sabbath Joseph, number 43, the sophomore linebacker, you could tell he realized he should be over there maybe, but maybe a little bit too late. Well, as we wait to get rolling again, that's Jeremy Branch, number 58. Some big news in the Big East Conference. John Marinato named the Big East commissioner effective July 1st, replacing Mike Tranghese. And you look at his resume, very impressive. The AD at Providence for 14 years, the former chairman of the Big East Athletics Directors Executive Committee, chief financial and business officer of the BCS, currently the Big East rep of the NCAA Leadership Council, and very well liked, unanimous pick. And congratulations to John Marinato, and congratulations to Mike Tranghese, who had a great run as the commissioner of the Big East Conference.
Yeah, Mike's done an absolute terrific job in the years he's been with the Big East Conference, and he hands the baton over to a guy that's been here for a while. So, congratulations to John as well.
Mike Tranghese, I've always told you, probably so you got sick of me talking about it, but I thought he did such a great job. I used to cover a lot of Big Ten football. But I remember when the ACC came and took some of their teams away, and I thought he handled that with such class. I mean, he never really blew up, or if he did, he let it go early, and he said, you know what, what's done is done, and let's regroup. And he said the Big East was almost extinct. But
yeah, he made the best of what was there, and he believed in the people and the universities and the institutions that stayed with the Big East, and I think they've done better for it because of his patience.
Now there's Jim Levitt. 13 and 12 in the Big East all time. 52 and 12 here inside Raymond James and the Big East Conference. And you look at teams like West Virginia. Well, Pat White could win his 4th January bowl game this year if West Virginia gets to a January game, and he'd be the first to do that. And Jim Levitt looking for that Big East championship, but again, they could finish 10 and 3.
And Torres jumps in to receive the kick for the Bulls.
Let's take a look at the Jim Levitt first game back in September 1997, and here we are trying to snap a 2-game skid on a beautiful afternoon in sunny South Florida, but they're down 21-10. There's Ben Williams. He's been active today. Picks it up on the bounce. He gets over the 40, 45, over the midfield stripe, and finally dropped just shy of the 45-yard line. Coming up to make the stop, Devin McCourty. Here's an advanced look at upcoming games brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. Let's start with Rutgers, John.
Well, Rutgers' remaining schedule, they go at home to Army next week, and we'll have that game, and then Louisville December 4th. So this was the game they had circled on their calendar. They needed to win this game, and they felt like they'd become bowl eligible if they did, because they could close out against those two teams. And then the Bulls finished a little bit tougher, Connecticut and then at West Virginia.
Grothy overshoots his man. That's Johnson. And that's twice now. Johnson says, come on, man, you missed me twice.
That time he had another wide open receiver in Torres Johnson coming across the middle with only 14 seconds remaining before halftime. You know, they get the great field position from Benjamin Williams picking up that kickoff. They have to convert when they have chances like that.
14 seconds to go before halftime. Grothy feeling some pressure, steps up. This time he has his man. They stop the clock, and Mitchell goes out of bounds. His first catch of the afternoon. So Carlton Mitchell pulls in his 21st catch. And Jim Levitt now still with just 1 second to go before halftime.
South Florida.
And South Florida using the timeout.
With the clock operator, please put 4 seconds on the clock. 4 seconds.
Well, Jim Levitt is beside himself. He just got 3 more seconds added to the clock. I think he wanted more.
Yeah, I think he tried to call the timeout with 7 seconds, and the linesman didn't give it to him, and you could see how upset head coach Jim Levitt is on the Bulls sideline.
Well, 4 seconds
means a lot right now with the timeout. They have a couple one timeout remaining. They could throw a pass and call timeout and get another 10 yards.
Benani's a long field goal, 47. But again, you can't do a whole lot with 4 seconds.
Jim Levitt asking if he could challenge the time on the clock, and the officials saying, shaking their head, no.
Well, this is going to be the last play then. Here's Benani. He'll spot this at about the 44-yard line.
Well, Jim Leavitt, Mike, has a reason to be upset. You could see him from our vantage point calling timeout, and it looked like there was 7 seconds, and he's still on that linesman.
Eric Stetson, the long snapper, late to get on the field. This will be a kick of 54 for the true freshman from Lake Wales.
And Mike, he's got some wind behind him as well.
Last play of the first half. It's blocked. Grant Gregory jumped on it, but that's going to be the last play. As Kitchen comes up with a block, another block kick for the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. And they come in riding that 3-game winning streak, and the Bulls, John, they have not fared well when they trailed at halftime.
Yeah, they haven't fared well, and they have to find a way at halftime to come back. It looked like they've been doing a lot of good things, but they haven't cashed in when they've been inside the 20-yard line this afternoon.
Wow, 16 and 43 when trailing at halftime. So halftime coming up here from Raymond James. You're going to hear from George Selvey. Could be the best defensive end in all of college football. Joins Congemi's Corner right after this.
Before there was a United States, our college was founded in the heart of New Jersey.
Before I became a CEO in the global marketplace.
Before I earned my Super Bowl ring.
Before
I was hired as the apprentice.
Before I wow my audiences on stage.
Before I won the Pulitzer Prize.
I learned about the world.
I earned my degree.
I was a Rhodes Scholar.
I studied writing.
I motivate my students.
At Rutgers.
At Rutgers.
At Rutgers.
Jersey Roots, Global Reach.
It's time for another season of exciting Rutgers basketball action. Your Scarlet Knights are warmed up and ready to rock the rack. Men's head coach Fred Hill and women's head coach C. Vivian Stringer invite you to experience Rutgers hoops this season. Come on out to the rack and be a part of the action. Season tickets are on sale now. Get yours today so you don't miss an exciting season of hoops action. Call 1-866-445-GO-RU or log on to scarletknights.com.
Halftime down at Raymond James Stadium. Rutgers continues to impress with a 21-10 halftime lead over the South Florida Bulls. I'm Chris Cotter along with Don McPherson and Ray Lucas. Halftime, guys. And Ray, let me start with you. It's Mike Teel again. He's made a couple of mistakes, but he's made big plays and big enough to get this team a halftime lead.
Absolutely. And I think it's more about the capitalizing of the South Florida turnovers. A fumble, they're scoring points. I mean, Mike Teel has come out and played well. You see right here, a good play-action pass. I mean, this play right here, just kind of misread. You can't really understand that. But the fact that he could come back and show some moxie, find his open receivers. Yes, they're doing a little bit more for him with the yak, yards after catch. But he's even doing it on the ground, Cott. Thank God that was only 3 yards, because I don't really know if Mike Teel could have made that one.
That first interception, Don, that we saw was the mistakes that we saw him make in the first half of the season. Throwing it into double coverage, underthrowing the ball, but he was able to come back from that, not let it affect him, not let it turn into a 4-interception day where they get so far behind that he has to force things. Just stay within himself and stay within the offense.
Yeah,
right?
and I think if you look at the season and this first half, it's pretty parallel. That slow start, bad interception, but he came back, kept his feet underneath him, picked and choose, got to the right receivers, got to his guy Kenny Britt, did a nice job of spreading the ball around, nice job of getting his composure after that interception.
I actually think that's the difference between Mike Teel then and now, is that he has that short-term memory that every quarterback has to have, where he doesn't let one bad play make 2 bad plays, and he comes back, Chris, and he's pinpoint accuracy again.
You mentioned Kenny Britt. He becomes the all-time leading receiver in terms of yards here at Rutgers, so congratulations to him. And he's been all over the place. Teel, we mentioned, has been spreading it around, but he always has that really big target, that NFL body in Kenny Britt to go to.
Yeah, Kenny Britt, he shows right there that he can go up for the big one. And this is the one, actually, that he sets the record on. Not a big play, but big enough to get him the record, all-time leading receiver at Rutgers.
Kenny Britt has been that type of guy. I mentioned NFL-type body. You know, both you guys having played in the league, everybody looks for that prototypical receiver, a guy who's 6'2", 225 pounds. He fits that mold. Is he fast enough, quick enough, polished enough a receiver to make it at the NFL, you think?
Well, I definitely think so. And just for the mere fact that I had a guy, maybe you heard of him, Keyshawn Johnson.
Familiar with him.
Yeah, pretty big, pretty tall, not afraid to go over the middle, not fast. but can have that body type that you can put the ball just about anywhere, and Kenny Britt will go up and get it. Do I think he's going to play on Sundays? Absolutely.
You know, Don, we mentioned Matt Grothe coming into this game and how he struggled. He hadn't played in 16 days. But in his last game, only 13 completions and 3 interceptions and a loss to Cincinnati. He struggled today as well.
Yeah, he did. That time he got the tip by Tavares, got the tip on the ball, and George Johnson gets the interception. And then again, another interception. This one goes for a touchdown. Those are the kinds of things that we said going into this ball game that Matt Grothe had to cut down. You win by Grothe, you die by Grothe. And right now, he's not playing very sharp, sloppy football, 2 interceptions. And that's also what's leading to Rutgers scores. Rutgers give a lot of credit to the defensive front. They put great pressure on Grothe, haven't allowed him to set his feet, and I think that's been really the key. Not so much bad Grothe as much as it has been good Rutgers defense, especially in the front.
Well, you're looking at the first pass, his tip pass. Yeah. You can't put that on the quarterback, but the second one, absolutely on Matt Grothe. When he drops back, he has to see that corner sloughing off. McCourty's out there, he's hanging out, he's in space. You can't force a ball on the 7 route if the corner's off coverage. 7 route is a flag to the outside, can't force it, Kyle.
The one thing that Grothe has done very well is run the football. Those design quarterback draws. 62 of South Florida's 71 rushing yards in the first half put in by Matt Grothe. All right, coming up, highlights from Friday night, the battle for the keg of nails. Cincinnati and Louisville, that's coming up next. November 20, Cincinnati atop the Big East standings. Pitt is right there, West Virginia as well. Those 3 teams will all go at it here in the last couple of weeks of the season. So this thing far from decided. And there's this little Rutgers team down there with 2 losses, just kind of watching everything develop. Unfortunately for them, they lose a tiebreaker head-to-head to West Virginia and Cincinnati. So that is where we stand right there. How impressed are you with this Cincinnati team, though, Don?
I'm very impressed with them, especially on defense. They've done a nice job of putting pressure on the quarterback and spreading things around on defense. They've done an exceptional job. This is an experienced defense that does a nice job.
Offensively, it's sick, too, though, with that.
Oh, absolutely. When you have wide receivers like that, you can go to either side. Where do you double if you're a defensive coordinator? Do you double Gilliard? Okay, then you have Dominic Goodman on the other side. And not to mention that Pike reads defenses very well. He's very accurate and has a lot of velocity in the ball when he needs it. But his deep ball's just as good as comeback passes. He throws teardrops in there. This team with a defense like they have, like I said, when they beat West Virginia, it was the front runner to win the whole thing.
And you have to give Brian Kelly a tremendous amount of credit for holding this team together, losing his quarterbacks. He's on his 4th quarterback of the season. And as we talked about, when Grutzer comes in the game, they lose nothing. That's the system. That's coaching.
Well, Brian Kelly and Cincinnati, they're definitely going bowling. Where we don't know yet, might be the Orange Bowl, BCS Bowl, might be one of the other Big East tie-in bowls. The Big East has a new commissioner, John Marinetto. I had a chance to speak with him earlier today about the bowl tie-ins and what's up next for him as the new commissioner of the Big East.
Got a total of 6, which is the most that we've ever had in the 18-year history of our football league. So from a number standpoint, we're in pretty good shape. 6, with Notre Dame lined up with us in a solid position. But and moving forward, we want to try and improve our lineup if we can, maybe by adding one in the middle of the pack in order to give everyone an opportunity based on where they fall at the end of the year to have a great experience at the end of the year, and that's ultimately our objective as we pursue this item on the agenda.
John mentioned 6 bowl games, and when you look at the bowl games right here, the tie-ins, and the Fiesta Bowl, could be the Orange Bowl as well when you talk about the BCS game, but the others are the ones that they are really locked into in terms of the conferences. The depth of this conference could warrant more games and more teams going, and they may be able to get at-large bids if another conference doesn't have enough teams qualifying. A Rutgers, for example, even if they're at a 6-6, could go to one of those bowl games. But when you look at the depth of the conference this year, maybe not as great as we thought it would be high-end, Don, but certainly there may be a lot of teams with those 6 wins and bowl eligible.
Yeah, you're talking about Rutgers coming on here late in the season, making a surge. They definitely do have a shot. I think one of the advantages that the Big East has is that there's only 8 teams in the conference, so they get to pick and choose more out of conference games to get to that 6 wins quicker.
Right.
I agree with you. I mean, if you really look at it, you have teams that a lot of them, the top 4, could be in the top 25. Yes, it was an off year, and I don't even like really saying off year for the Big East because they're closing now. They started off, everybody said it was going to be a powerhouse, but now you see these teams are forced to be reckoned with all over the country.
And UConn, we'll see if they can close or begin closing tonight against Syracuse. Sorry about that, Don. All right, when we come back, highlights from around the country. Number 3 Texas taking on Kansas, and Notre Dame looking to avenge last year's loss to the Navy. How many times have I said sorry, Don, this year?
It's been a long year.
In the game. Real quick on this game, second half of our game coming up here, you got South Florida reeling at home. Rutgers really putting it on them. How are they doing it? I mean, is it the front seven that we talked about in the pregame, putting the pressure on Grothy, forcing him into mistakes?
I really think so, but I also think it's Matt Grothy not seeing the field too well. I think they're going to have to throw the football in the second half, which is going to be perfect for Rutgers to pin their ears back to front seven and let them go. You're talking about a secondary that was second in the nation a year ago. I mean, this is a recipe for success for Rutgers, but at the same token, let's not forget, this is still Matt Grothy in South Florida. I think definitely that it could be close or it could be a blowout, Don, either way.
Yeah, I think that the Rutgers can't be afraid of Matt Grothy and him breaking away and getting some yards in the run game. I think they have to continue to keep the pressure on, continue to blitz, and continue to rush with 4, but continue the pressure on Matt Grothy.
You know, it's interesting. You had the defensive touchdown here with Jason McCourty running it in. Rutgers, 25 rushing yards in the first half. It'll be interesting to see if they can get that going with a lead in the second. We'll see you.